Get this. You've got a Bollywood actress, a fake passport, and this tangled international crime that ends up putting one of the oldest legal principles to the test, right in India's Supreme Court. This is one of those wild stories where celebrity, crime, and the Constitution all crash into each other.
It really comes down to a basic question of fairness, doesn't it? If you've done the crime and you've served the time, can the government just turn around and charge you all over again? I mean, most places would say absolutely not. But what happens when one fake document leads to two totally different crimes in two different countries?
All right, so before we can even get to the legal puzzle, you've got to understand the crime itself. And this one, seriously, is straight out of a movie script. It involves this massive conspiracy that stretched all across the country. So at the heart of all this is actress Monica Bedi. Back in 2001, she got herself a brand new identity thanks to this very elaborate scheme to get an Indian passport, but in the name of Asana Malik Kamal. Now, this wasn't just some simple forgery. Oh no, this was a full-blown operation. First, a criminal network created a whole fake life for Sana Malik, complete with fake school and residence papers. Then, they slapped Bedi's photo on the application, and get this, corrupt officials actually filed fake reports saying, yep, we checked her out, she's real. And to top it all off, once the passport was printed, a corrupt postman grabbed it and handed it off to the crew. Just a seamless, totally fraudulent process. So with her shiny new passport, Bedi starts traveling the world. But her luck runs out in Lisbon, Portugal. She gets arrested, put on trial, and is convicted for using a forged document. She actually ends up serving over 2 years in a Portuguese prison for it. Case closed, right? Well, not quite. Because after she finished her sentence in Portugal, she was extradited back to India to face a whole new set of charges. And this, my friends, is where the real legal drama kicks off. So her lawyers came out swinging with a pretty powerful defense. They argued, hey, she's already been punished for this fake passport. Trying to punish her again is double jeopardy. You can't be tried for the same crime twice. And on the surface, it really seemed like an open and shut case.
And you know what? They had the Indian Constitution to back them up. Article 20, Clause 2 is crystal clear. You can't be prosecuted and punished for the very same offense more than once.
This isn't some newfangled idea either. It's rooted in this ancient Latin principle that's basically the bedrock of modern justice. You just can't put someone in legal danger twice for the exact same act.
So how in the world did the Indian Supreme Court handle this? Well, they didn't try to get around the rule. Instead, they looked straight through it and came up with this brilliant legal distinction that has really defined Indian law ever since. The entire case boiled down to this one concept, a powerful idea called the ingredients test. The court decided to look at the crimes not based on the shared fact, the passport, but by breaking down the specific legal components, or ingredients, that actually make up each crime. Okay, so let's break this down. Portugal convicted her for the act of using the fake passport to travel. That crime could only happen after the document was already made. But India, they charged her for the crimes involved in getting the passport in the first place. The conspiracy, the cheating, the lying that happened before it was ever even printed. Same passport, sure, but totally different actions at totally different points in time.
And you can almost picture the court, right? Like a chef, meticulously separating out the legal ingredients of each crime to see what they were really made of. They weren't looking at the final dish. They were analyzing the recipe for each one, and they found they were completely different.
See, India's charges were totally different things. Criminal conspiracy, that's just about the agreement to do the crime. Cheating by personation is about the specific act of lying about your identity. And cheating is about successfully tricking the government. None of those were even part of the case in Portugal.
So, how did this one specific case, involving one actress and one passport, end up becoming such a huge cornerstone of Indian constitutional law?
And boom, here it is, the key sentence from the Supreme Court's judgment that laid it all out. You can be punished more than once based on the same facts as long as the legal ingredients of the crimes are totally different. That one sentence pretty much changed the game.
Now, the court wasn't just pulling this idea out of thin air. They were actually building on more than 50 years of previous cases that were slowly developing this ingredients test. The Monica Bedi case was just the moment it was finally and definitively locked into law.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What's the lasting impact of this celebrity legal drama? And why do law students in India still study it so closely?
Well, first, let's talk about what happened to Monica Bedi. The Supreme Court said, yes, your conviction in India stands. But, in what seems like a nod to fairness, they reduced her sentence to the time she'd already spent in jail, basically giving her credit for her time served in Portugal.
But the case's legacy is so much bigger. First, it made the rule perfectly clear. Double jeopardy is about the offense, not the facts. Second, it showed that getting convicted in another country doesn't give you a get-out-of-jail-free card for different crimes you committed in India. And third, it drove home the point that just agreeing to a conspiracy is a crime all on its own.
So, the ingredients test gives us a really clear line in the sand. But it does leave us with this one fascinating question, especially today in our super globalized world. As crimes get more complex and cross more borders, does slicing them up by their ingredients really serve justice? Or does it risk punishing someone multiple times for what really feels like a single chain of events? It's a question the law is still grappling with.